Speaking of anti-vax, we actually have some, I think it's good news anyway. Remember that Wisconsin pharmacist who very early on tampered with 500 doses of the vaccine, making them unusable? He has now been sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. This is good news. The only question is, should he have gotten more time in prison? And I'll talk about that in a moment. CBS 58 is reporting that Stephen Brandenburg, the ex-pharmacist, he is no longer a pharmacist, you will be glad to know, the ex-pharmacist convicted of intentionally tampering with more than 500 doses of the Moderna COVID vaccine, was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison on Tuesday. Brandenburg was a third-shift pharmacist at Advocate Aurora Health Hospital in Grafton, where he admits to intentionally removing dozens of vials of the Moderna coronavirus vaccine from refrigeration. 57 doses were administered to coworkers before hospital officials found out about this and destroyed the rest of the doses. The 57 doses were determined to be still effective and did not produce health effects for the patients who received them. At his sentencing, Brandenburg told the court he was greatly ashamed of his actions and he took responsibility for them. His defense attorney detailed how his life spiraled prior to the incident. He had a messy divorce. He had mental and emotional issues. He had a sense of disillusionment with work and with the stress of the pandemic. But his former employer was very angry and insisted he needs to be punished, that this has impacted hospital staff who are now just trying to rebuild confidence in the system there, that this won't happen again. Government prosecutors asked for 51 months, meaning 4 years, 3 months. The judge said that the guilty plea, the lack of criminal record, and other factors led to a 3-year sentence that the judge feels is just but not excessive. In addition to being imprisoned for 3 years, the judge ordered Brandenburg to serve 3 years of supervised release and to pay about $83,000 in restitution to the hospital. Now, this is just the federal case. There's also a state case related to this pending against Brandenburg. We will see what happens there. So first and foremost, 3 years. Is this enough time? Yeah, I mean, I guess so. What I think about is, if indeed, so a bunch of these doses, 57 of the 500 tampered doses were given to people, but then the rest of the 500 were thrown out. This was really early on in the pandemic. This was when there was really limited vaccine supply, and they were really only going to healthcare workers and those at the absolute highest risk. So delaying 450 doses, 443 doses, which was what just was thrown out due to the tampering, that realistically could have led to some really high-risk people not getting their dose for a longer period of time. And some of them could have caught the virus and some of them could have died. Now, it may have happened or it may not have. I don't actually know whether that happened. I don't know whether we can even say for sure. But people may have or could have died as a result of this. And so 3 years, I don't know. What I do know is these people have to be made an example out of. Now, you can always come in and say, as was argued, this was a person who was not doing well emotionally and mentally and all of the stuff. And clearly those were mitigating factors in terms of the sentencing. But a signal has to be sent that this is just an absolute no. This is, I mean, would we say it's equivalent to tampering with medication? Is it equivalent to doing something to a medication you're dispensing to someone who may be seriously ill and depending on a medication to stay alive? Would it be equivalent to messing with the medication, doing something with it that makes it not work, or dispensing the wrong medication? I mean, it seems that it would be at least at that level, and it was deliberate. It was not an accident. I saw a funny comment online saying, just another victim of cancel culture. He spoke out in some sense against the vaccine by doing this, and now he's been canceled. I hope that those are jokes. These folks have to be made examples out of, and threw away his career, no longer licensed as a pharmacist. Not good times for Mr. Brandenburg, but it has to be taken seriously. My question for you is 3 years the right sentence? Prosecutors asking for 4 years, 3 months, the judge saying 3 years. Do you feel it's too harsh, not harsh enough, or just right? Let me know. You can comment on this story on the David Pakman Show Facebook page, which you can find at facebook.com/David Pakman Show. And don't forget the second David Pakman Show YouTube channel, which with exclusive clips from the backyard garden, as well as from the David Pakman Show live streams. You can find it at davidpakman.com/Pakman Live. Second YouTube channel, barreling to our first 5,000 subscribers. Quick break, and we will be right back after this.